On a very special day, it's our producer Pete's birthday.
Oh, yes.
Now, does anybody actually know his age, or is he told anybody, or are we guessing?
I don't know, actually. This is quite fun for people who's watching, guessing the age of someone they've never met.
Yeah.
We don't want to meet him. We don't want to meet him.
Apparently,
Yeah, there's a good chance if you'll see a guy, somebody walking down the street with bandages around him, hobbling along with like a boot on his foot,
because he's limping.
he had
a cane once.
stick.
He had a cane.
asking for sympathy.
He has a reputation as being a bit of a hypochondriac. He's 44.
What?
44.
Apparently.
My God.
He's
He
44.
must have had some life when he was young. What did they have him doing? Carrying bags of coal around when he was 4.
Okay, right.
That was a tough upbringing.
I tell you what, I feel better now.
Let's go to the crux of it. Craig obviously said that Juve were going to go through yesterday. You guys got listened to Craig more, knew that Ronaldo was going to dominate against Atletico.
I agree with
Listen to him more, you're not.
He's a psychic. You're the man, Mr.
Oh,
Burley.
yes, he's the man.
And the next one
Oh,
continues.
he meant psycho.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't mean psychic.
Yeah,
Well,
How hard is it going to be to get Dan's foot out of his mouth after he predicted that this match was going to be so boring? It wasn't boring, was it? Juve were good. How do Madrid feel about Ronaldo right now? Zidane must be like, I told you so.
Who's Zidane talking to? Who's Zidane talking to?
Perez, maybe?
Oh, my God. Just ask you a question, I don't know. I just thought you might know.
What did he say? He said, what did he say? I'm going to be leaving, but I'm going to give you a bit of advice. Keep one of the best players in the world.
Yes.
He knows his stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, out there.
Yeah.
Where does tonight's Champions League performance for Ronaldo rank in his career, Gab?
Wow, well, he had a bunch. I mean, I remember, I think it was his second or third year, they played Bayern in quarterfinal, I want to say. They won 2-1, and then it went to penalties. He was outstanding that night. You also obviously remember more recently at the World Cup, the opening game against Spain with that dramatic free kick. Possibly the Wolfsburg game. You know what? I was thinking about this before. I'm like, where have I seen this before? The Wolfsburg quarterfinals, Champions League 2015-16. Zidane's first season in charge, or first half season in charge. They lose the first leg 2-0. They're home at the Bernabeu. I think he scored 2 goals in the space of like 2 minutes or something. And then he scored a free kick to win it from time. So, you know, he had 3 goals that night and came back from 2-0 down the first leg. Easy peasy. Done this before.
How about the reason as to why he's in Juventus? The bicycle kick goal against Juventus.
Yep.
In Juventus, where the fans essentially said, okay, well, we give up. Either we bring them or we're not going to win.
Stevie, what are your thoughts on Ronaldo doing Simeone's celebration?
Did he?
Yes, he did.
The
Yes, Steve.
Yeah.
what did he say?
What? What? What is it? What's up?
What did you make of it?
I don't mind it, you know.
No?
No. Listen, if somebody does something
Dan.
and basically is doing it to you and the rest of your teammates,
Yeah.
and it goes wrong in the second game, I think you've got every right to
Rub
do
it in.
exactly the same thing. Yes.
Gab?
Now, do you know who else feels that way, Stevie? Is Simeone himself. He was asked about it after the game, and he basically said he had every right to do it. He showed, you know, he has them too. He showed that he had more of them tonight, and he's got the right attitude and professionalism, and I respect that. So Simeone's not bothered. I'm not sure anybody else should be.
HR at the door, maybe they're bothered, so let's move on quickly, shall we? Is
They're coming after Stevie.
Is Cristiano the best Champions League player of all time?
No idea. I can't remember.
Top goal scorer?
Put it this way, let's make it easier. Is there anybody ahead of him in any category?
No.
What?
Is your answer?
Trophies won, goals scored.
No, Messi's won 4, he's won 5.
Right.
He's scored more goals than Messi.
There you go.
So that would be a yes.
Yeah?
Has to be.
I think so. Yeah?
I know, sure.
Yeah? Perfect. Should Griezmann have gone to Barca in the summer, Ali?
Well, he wishes he had.
He was anonymous today.
No, and that's part of the problem, is that there are moments in which you need to be the guy. And when they were under pressure, and there were moments in which maybe you get an opportunity to get the team forward because you can hold on to the ball, there was no participation from Griezmann whatsoever today. Now, Atlético Madrid didn't play well at all, but he didn't even play. Yeah. He wasn't even out there.
And Morata's renaissance is over.
Huh?
Well, he did get Juventus off to a flying start.
Yeah,
with a little giveaway, which sent, I think it was Bernadeschi away, and then they scored from the cross. So, yeah.
Is it disrespectful for City to score 7 goals when they didn't even need to score 1 to make it through to the next round?
Are you kidding me?
No.
Are you kidding me?
It's disrespectful to take the mickey out of the opposition.
Correct.
Listen, if I'm playing for Schalke, I'd rather get beat 10-0 than 1-0 and have them showboating for 60 or 70 minutes. So, absolutely.
Why don't you try and beat them 1-0 and then leave yourself open to maybe them getting a couple on the counter out of nothing?
Professional sports. This is not under 11.
Or maybe they probably needed a bit more than that with the away goals. But, yeah.
This is not juice boxes and orange slices.
No. This is professional.
It is.
That's it. Just like this show. Which
well,
will be back tomorrow.
This is more juice boxes and
we'll
orange
be looking
slices.
back at Bayern against Liverpool, plus of course Barca against Lyon. You here, Torres?
I am.
Is he watching the game?
I am not.
The question is he watching the game in the green room with us, or is he watching it?
It depends.
At his own desk?
It depends.
Oh. And what does it depend on, Stevie?
Well, I might start the game with you, but I might sneak off.
Oh, all right.
Good defensive posture, and then when you win the ball back, I think Liverpool's got the pace to worry that Bayern back line. So I think Liverpool can do it. I'm going to go for Liverpool.
Well, they've got Van Dijk back, so that's a bonus. But the momentum's definitely swung. Bayern are playing much better than they were early in the season. Liverpool have had a few struggles of late. Did lose in Naples, did lose in Belgrade, and lost in Paris. So they haven't travelled well this year in this competition. So I'm going to go for Bayern Munich just.
I'm going to go with Bayern Munich as well, and I expect them to slow the game down so that Liverpool cannot take advantage of their speed. If this game is played at chaotic pace, that's where Liverpool thrives. I don't think that's what happens. Bayern Munich handles the pace of the game. They keep possession of the ball. They force Liverpool back, and then they win at home. Simple as that.
Who have you got, Gab?
I'm going to lean Bayern in this one. No Kimmich, no Muller, but I think experience does matter. And I also think, in terms of Liverpool, I think there is a real psychological stigma there. It's not just this season they've lost away from home. Go back to last year, and if you count Kiev and Rome, it's 5 straight defeats away from Anfield.
Meanwhile, at the Camp Nou, Barca taking on Lyon. Barca big favourites to go through. Remember, this was 0-0 in France. This should be fine, shouldn't it, for Valverde's side, Gab?
It should be, but I don't think you take anything for granted. We've seen Lyon put on performances before. Depay, Fekir, they created all sorts of problems for City. You can possibly create problems for Barcelona as well.
They did win in Manchester City in match day 1. Still, I'm going for Barca.
You can't not go for Barca.
Even with Coutinho on the field, Barcelona overcomes that, and they beat Lyon.
That would be a shock.
That's about harsh, isn't
Lyon.
Well,
Liverpool
he hasn't been good.
Liverpool beating Bayern wouldn't be a shock.
No.
But I think Lyon beating Barca at home would be a shock.
Or a draw. Score draw, of course, be enough to see them through.
Right,
and it could mean no La Liga teams in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. They've had a great record of late, haven't they? But of course, why have I started this? Who's out? Real Madrid, Atleti are out. And the fourth one was Valencia, all gone.
You sure you got that right?
I think so. Or Sevilla.
Sevilla. There you go.
Elsewhere, action in France today. Dijon taking on PSG.
I mean, the game was relatively close in Germany because Otamendi gets sent off. There was a penalty against Fernandinho that some argued about. It was a handball as well. I think this might have been a game over 2 legs where VAR was used the most.
Yeah, it was.
Just incredible. But it wasn't a spectacle.
No.
And it's hard to gauge City because Schalke have been poor this year in the Bundesliga. They're sitting in the bottom half of the Bundesliga and they just were no match for this multi-talented squad that, you know, people are saying You know, only they can stop themselves, really.
You know what? They probably only scored 7 because VAR took up so much time after every goal that it probably took 10 minutes out of the game.
Sure.
Otherwise, it could have been 10.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Schalke are saying, thank goodness for VAR.
City are favourites, 9-4. What's going to be their downfall? Why won't they win it?
Themselves. I think they are their biggest rivals. In that first game against Schalke, what we saw is a lack of attention to detail, and Schalke simply wasn't good enough to punish them over the course of 90 minutes. And so therefore, you have to imagine that if they had those same mistakes against better teams, that those teams would punish them and would see Manchester City out of the competition, just like Liverpool did last year. So then the question becomes whether they have learned from that experience. And if they have, then Manchester City, rightfully so, one of the favorites in this competition. Look, as bad as Schalke were, it's impressive still what Manchester City did. Now, you can also make the argument that they would have gotten a bigger challenge from playing an inter-squad, 11v11, on a training field than they would against this Schalke team. But Manchester City today, when they were asked a question, whatever question it was, they answered it 10 out of 10. It was an outstanding performance.
Games will be a problem. You know, we're still in the FA Cup. We're going for the Premier League.
Yeah, April's going to be bonkers for them.
It's going to be huge. And of course, they're up against other teams from other countries who actually go out the way to help their teams, giving them rest.
But
so
they're the deepest squad, aren't they, left, in that sense, so that should help them out.
Yeah, it'll help, but we're talking, I mean, everybody else has got, what, 9 games left in the season? They could have another 7 or 8 on top of that. That's tough going, even with a big squad.
Go on, Gab.
No, just going to say, they're deep to a point. I think in certain positions, I mean, we are splitting hairs here. You know, David Silva is showing signs of wear and tear. De Bruyne is injured. Fernandinho's injured. You know, Phil Foden came off the bench to give David Silva a breather. But once you get past Foden, I don't know how much is there. And Foden's still a kid. So we are splitting hairs, but you could see how a certain injury crisis or something unexpected could possibly affect it. They nearly had that at the back today when you saw who was playing center back. So those are things. Maybe the few things that really are keeping Pep Guardiola up at night. A little bit worried.
I think the Fernandinho injury would be, you know, Kevin De Bruyne has had a mixed season because of injury. He's came back from injury, and then probably come back too soon. Then he come back again. He didn't look his sharp self. They have other players in that position. As good as he is, they have other players that can come in and do a similar kind of job. They don't really have anybody that can do the Fernandinho job. They can try and plug that hole, but if you pull a Barca or one of the real big boys in this competition, it's going to be invaluable to have his defensive cover.
Sure.
So he's the big headache, I think, for Guardiola. And I don't really know at the moment what the update in his injury is.
And they got to keep Agüero healthy as well.
Correct.
Because Gabriel Jesus, he can do a job, but not the job.
Yeah.
So Sergio Agüero, and he's prone to injury as well. So this is a guy that maybe needs some minutes off every now and then.
We'll, of course, be looking back at both of those games on the next edition of the show. Please join us if you can. So then, Bayern Munich against Liverpool tomorrow. Goalless, of course, at Anfield. Who's going through, Stevie?
I'm going to go for Liverpool. I think if Liverpool are
shocked.
I think if they're sensible defensively, and by that I mean don't sit on the edge of your box. You're asking for trouble.